Hello friends, thank you for watching Left Hand Reviews, and today we're going to take a look at Battlecruisers, a recent Kickstarter from TMG. Battlecruisers is a card game played in about 20 minutes with 3 to 5 players. The purpose of Battlecruisers is that you need to get 15 victory points before your opponents or be the last one standing as you're playing cards, causing you to gain victory points, your opponents to lose victory points, and hopefully forcing your opponents to discard cards, weakening their deck. So let me show you what comes in the box of Battlecruisers. I'm going to show you how to play and let you know what I think about this game that is set in the Eminent Domain universe. Battlecruisers comes in a cool little box here. Nice finish as you'd expect. First thing you're going to see here is the rule book. The rule book is just a big old folded sheet of paper here, double-sided. That's going to give you an overview of how to play the game. The rules are not that spectacular as far as explaining everything, but I think there's a reason for that, and I'll mention that. Alright, you got some baggies that came with the game. I haven't used those. You have your victory point chits as well as some protected and disabled markers in there. You have a huge deck of cards, and you're going to have player mats. Each player has a player mat that has a green side and a red alert side. So what happens in this game is everybody's going to start off with the same deck of cards. The cards have a number indicated on the top right. That indicates the card, the specific card. So all the 29s are going to be these attack bots, all the 3s are going to be these shields, etc. And what you're going to do is create a custom deck of cards. Everybody's going to start off with the same cards, very similar to Eminent Domain. Now in the rule pamphlet here, it has some suggestions for the cards to use. So for example, the Friendship Breaker configuration would be cards 5, 6, 11, 28, 29, and 31 in a 3-player game. In a 4-player game, you're going to add in card 39, and in a 5-player game, we're also going to add in card 34. So everybody will start off with the exact same cards in their deck. Then what you're going to do is everybody's going to receive one of these player mats. They're going to randomly place a card face down in their discard and randomly place a card face up in the recovery zone. And once that's done, everybody's ready to play. So let me set this up real quick and I'm going to walk you through. What you see here is a 3-player setup for Battlecruisers. And what's going to happen, as I mentioned, all players are going to have the exact same hands. Now these hands are obviously going to be hidden from your opponents, but I have them face up here just for ease of videoing. And you're going to put a random card face down in your discard and a random card face up in your recovery zone. Then what happens is all players are going to select a card from their hand. Then once everybody has a card face down, you're going to reveal simultaneously and evaluate and resolve the cards. So let's flip them over. We have a 31, a 43, and an 11. Now these cards are going to resolve in ascending order of their value on the top right hand corner. So Reckless Pilot evaluates first, and the card says discard 1 card and gain 4 victory points. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to say, alright, I don't want this card anymore. I'm going to discard it. You can discard from your hand. You can also discard from your recovery zone. And then I'm going to grab 4 victory points. I'll put a 5, trade in the 1. Everybody starts off with 1. Then 31 is going to evaluate. This is laser cannons. It says each opponent must discard 1 card. Okay, so darn, I'm going to discard my escape pod now. And this player is going to say choose to discard the card in their recovery zone. And then finally, this will evaluate the escape pod, and it says gain 1 victory point. If you have no cards in your hand, return the top 3 cards of your choice from your discard to your hand. Well, that's not the case here, so they'll gain a victory point. Then the cards that you played are going to go into your recovery zone, and your recovery zone card is going to come into your hand. So there's no recovery zone here because we discarded it. And same here. There we go. And now you're ready to play the next round. Now let's walk through another round. Let's say this person decides to play Reckless Pilot, this person decides to play Reckless Pilot, and I choose to play laser cannons this time. All right, everybody's going to reveal. And again, we're going to resolve in order. But uh-oh, 2 players played the same card. So instead of resolving the white effect of discard 1 card, gain 4 victory points, you're going to resolve the clash effect at the bottom in red that says discard this card or 1 card from your hand. So that's bad. The idea of this game is to not play cards that your opponents play. So these players might both choose to just discard this card, and then good old laser cannons that I played, each opponent must discard a card. Now, if somebody had clashed with me, I would have to have done the clash effect, which is discard a card, which is bad. I don't want to discard a card. I want my opponents to, which they do in this case. So again, shoot, maybe this player discards this card, this player discards this card, and I put this into my recovery zone, and then this comes back. And then for this player, this is going to come back into the recovery zone, and this is going to come back from the recovery zone, into their hand. And that's it. And then you just keep playing these rounds until a player has accumulated either 15 points or they have eliminated all of the players. And if you're the last one standing, then you will win. As you're playing, if you get down to only 1 card, let's say in this case, these cards that end up having to be discarded, you're going to flip your player mat to the red alert side. Basically, what this means is you are in deep trouble. If you have to discard 1 more card, you will lose. It also means that you don't really have a recovery zone anymore. The card that you play just comes right back to your hand and you keep playing it. It also means that you can be forced to discard the card that you just played, which normally you can't. So that is a very dangerous thing. If you come out of red alert mode, you would simply just flip the mat back over. And that's really all there is to Battlecruisers. You do have these special chits here, these protected and disabled. So there are card effects that will come into play that take these into account. So you'll just put that on yourself just to indicate, disabled or protected one way or the other. You can see that depending on the number of players that you have, you're only going to be using, say, anywhere between 6 and 8 cards in a deck. But, as I showed you earlier, there are a ton of cards in here. So that means there's a ton of different configurations for this game, which is really, really cool. And the rule book gives you plenty. You can also do a draft mechanic. You could also just randomly pick a number of cards to use. So in that respect, it reminds me a lot of Dominion, but I'll talk about that in the review. So anyway, this is how you play Battlecruisers. It's set in the Eminent Domain universe. The artwork is really cool. The game is very quick and easy to set up and play. So let's wrap it up. I'm going to tell you what I think about Battlecruisers. So as I started to say, I really enjoyed Battlecruisers. It's a fun game, and I like that it's really, really quick. I've always been a fan of Dominion, to play that on occasion, and I like about Dominion that there are a darn near infinite number of combinations of cards that you can use that makes every single game so much differently. And even like Dominion, like Glory to Rome, different cards just don't make the game itself different from the fact that the cards are different, but it also means the combinations between the cards are different. So you have such a huge amount of variability in the game that you really don't have to worry about it getting too samey over time because there's so many different cards. I like the fact that they give you several suggested decks to use because sometimes you may not know what to do, and so this is good to show you that looks like they've tested some out and gives you a good place to start. Try to start learning the different cards, the different combos between the cards, so that's really nice. The card quality is very good, as you've come to expect. No issues there. The artwork is very, very good. Fits right in with the Eminent Domain universe, which I love Eminent Domain, so that's just great. The chits, right out of Eminent Domain, you'll feel right at home there. The player mats are a heavy card stock, which feels really nice. So overall, this is a really fun game. I like this game a lot because it's very, very chaotic. One of the games that I played, I had maybe 1 point. All my other opponents, were getting very close to 15 points. All of a sudden, I played some back-to-back cards that ended up forcing all of them to end up having to discard everything they had, and I ended up winning despite the fact that I had hardly any points. So I really like how chaotic this game is and how you never really know who's going to win. Just because you have tons of points doesn't mean you're a runaway leader. It just means that you really have to watch out for sneaky players forcing you to discard all your cards. I also like that this game is very, very quick. So Dominion is a great game, as I keep mentioning, but it is long. Dominion can run 30, 45, even an hour or longer. This game gives you the variability of different cards, but it plays in 15 minutes. I mean, it can play even a little bit faster. It can play maybe as high as 20, 25, but it is a fast filler game, which is great. You can pull it out if you're going to dinner, you can pull it out at a diner. You can just pull it out, during the Super Bowl while the game's playing, in between commercials. You have all sorts of options that you can do with this game, and that's why I really, really like it. My collection lacks a lot of these smaller filler games. I have a lot of meaty games, a lot of brain burners, a lot of long games, and I love those. But I'm always trying to increase my collection with smaller footprint games that still give you plenty of depth. And Battlecruisers fits that perfectly. There's lots of depth, but it's quick and it's fun, and it's never going to feel the same because there's so many different cards. There's so many different ways to formulate each game. So Battlecruisers gets a big thumbs up for me. It's a great game. I recommend you pick it up. This was a Kickstarter, I believe, so Kickstarter backers, if they don't have it now, should have it very, very soon, as well as retailers. So if you're looking for a smaller game and you like that Eminent Domain universe, or even if you have never played Eminent Domain, definitely take a hard look at Battlecruisers. Thanks for watching.